You ready for the video?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
In some way,
Don't you love his laugh?
on one level, in the physiological level, the significance of yoga is to
naturally occurring in the brain.
Not sure what's happening here, but let's keep going.
DMT.
I don't know, I didn't really agree with like… Hey you guys!
Like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, eat them all. Be a full moon tonight.
Present practice. What's conscious? This is Vish and
Ellie.
And today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on… How do you read this? So I got a bunch kind of just saved. Oh shit. Give me a quick second.
The intoxicating effects of the moon.
I'm an aspiring yogi and I've been meditating for over 4 years now. Love all things meditation, yoga, and wisdom based. And today I'm grateful to have Ellie on the show. Want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Ellie from Battleground, Washington. Nobody knows where that is, but…
So Ellie, have you heard of Sadhguru before?
Yes,
What do you know about him?
he's awesome.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited to watch more of that awesome guy. And
Let's get into the video.
Then there's this chemical in the brain that's released from, what Descartes referred to as the seat of the soul, and
Yes.
as the Egyptians, referred to as the eye of Horus. The only unilateral structure in the brain is
In the brain.
It seems like a very interesting structure, and it's been implicated in mystical states only because there is some limited data, like Horacio was alluding to, that its data is not very convincing, but it is the data that does exist. It shows that it's a precursor to a chemical that's naturally occurring in the brain.
not sure what's happening here, but let's keep going.
DMT. It's a psychedelic that's used for very short, intense psychedelic experiences. And so that's why I was thinking with Sadhguru, you've been referring to the moon and working with the moon, the cycle of the moon specifically for spiritual purposes.
David, the thing is, see, in the yogic system, there are simple processes with which, particularly on full moon nights, where you can get totally stoned out just on moonlight. There are processes to do that. And as you can see, I don't know what the DMT is, you can see I'm on it all the time. No substance from outside, it's from within. It is in some way…
Don't you love his laugh?
On one level, in the physiological level, the significance of yoga is to stay in tune with the sun and moon cycles in relation to the planet. That is the only way this life can be in balance and with least amount of friction within itself, because then the life's experience as… whatever the chemicals you're discussing, serotonin, melatonin, all this stuff, essentially you're saying chemistry determines the nature of your experience of life itself. So, to maintain that chemistry which is always blissful and ecstatic, moon and being aligned with the moon is a very important part of it. So, there are various practices associated with that. One thing I would like to request Professor Horace is if they can invest a certain amount of attention towards what is happening in the gut with the full moon, new moon, I think it may be far more easily measurable than what is happening in the brain, because what is happening in the brain, we see it only as a consequence. The real thing is happening in the gut. You may see certain effects in the brain. What is a consequence is one thing, but the process, the changes that are happening within the gut region is very big. What is happening is there more solid kind of stuff, it is more tangible, that maybe it is more easily measurable than what's happening in the brain.
So Ellie, after watching this one, what'd you think? What are your first thoughts?
In the beginning I was kind of confused. I don't know, I didn't really agree with like the gut thing. Because
Tell me about that.
So your brain is your, like in my head, is your most vital organ, runs your whole entire body. And so I think that especially when you have lower dopamine levels and the same chemical compounds that are in MDMA and they're running low in your brain, those can also make you not feel as good. And so those are really important things to keep up. But
Okay.
with the moon, I feel like it doesn't, like even he was kind of like, what? Because like
He as in who, the scientist or Sadhguru?
the scientist, he's like, all right.
Are you talking about are you referring to the part where he was saying that you can get stoned from the moon and doing certain things, or what are you referring to?
No, I think that that's the real thing.
Oh, that's the real thing.
I was just saying, like, I don't think that the moon necessarily can, like, make your dopamine levels higher, if that's what he was getting at, because just kind of understand what he meant by that.
Okay, no, that's a fair point. I appreciate you sharing that and keeping it transparent, Ellie, because that's something I value, as well as y'all watching know this. I think open discussion, open transparency is super, super critical here. And yeah, I think I was also a bit confused initially with like what was being talked about. I guess it's in terms of context, it's important to consider that this is like a small snippet of I think like an hour long or like 2 hour long like discussion. So maybe it's missing quite a bit of information, and it is only a 3-minute video. So maybe that's one aspect of it. But yeah, with that being said, I guess let me ask you this. I don't know if he was maybe trying to say that the brain shouldn't be referred to or looked at, or it's not it's not important. But I think he just was maybe encouraging and advising that we give some more attention to the gut. I did hear, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that I think 90% or 80% of your serotonin is produced in the gut.
Yeah. Have
you heard of that?
Yes, serotonin.
Serotonin, got you. So,
Dopamine.
so dopamine's just in the brain?
I couldn't answer that for you.
Okay, well, me neither. But with that context being kind of like known, right, with how like serotonin, 80% of it or whatever number, high number, is produced in the gut, does that like change your perspective on what he was saying, or do you still have similar views?
Kinda. So what I feel like he was saying was actually kind of like, I get stoned by the moon, and then he kind of like laughed. But I feel like there is some, truth to that. But also he's like, I feel like we focus too much on stuff that don't like really make sense. And so like, why don't we just look within our bodies too, instead of just like everywhere else? But that's just me. I don't know.
Would you agree with that statement? Because I think that's pretty much what he was saying.
Oh, then yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I think that was definitely much in line with what he was saying, and I think.
I got a little confused.
No, that's okay. Again, it was confusing to me as well. And,
glad we broke that down together.
Exactly, and consider the fact that like I've seen like hundreds of his videos, so this was definitely one of the confusing ones. Again, probably because of the snippet that was taken from, let's call it the, like hour-long or whatever long podcast or video that was made. But anyways, with that being said, I think essentially going a bit deeper into what you were sharing as well. I think what he says, and I think a lot of science talks about this today as well, it's the idea that the brain itself, it's such a big mystery, right? They don't know so much about the brain, like how it works and just like so many things, like what are thoughts, what is consciousness, like what are these different things? They still don't know. They have some ideas, but like they don't know. So I think essentially what I got out of this video was that he's referring us to look into the gut a bit more, and that's his recommendation to the scientists. And I think that's super important too, because I think the gut, as we discussed, is related to your mental health to a pretty high extent. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and especially that's why you have to like eat right for your body, and you get higher energy when you eat all your fruits and veggies, ladies and gentlemen.
Eat your veggies.
Eat them all.
Yes, all the colors, definitely very critical here. So, curious, before we wrap this up, would love to hear what you all think about Sadhguru talking about the moon and how you can get intoxicated from that moon. Would love to hear if you think that's a real thing or not real thing in the comments down below. And yeah, you had mentioned, Ellie, that, right? That you do think that that's a real thing. Have you experienced that before yourself, or why do you think it's possible?
I get really mean around like the waxing crescent phase. And it's always that one when I look it up. And then the full moon like makes all of my like farm animals freak out.
Really?
Yeah, they like don't know which direction is where. It's really weird. That's just what I've noticed.
Wow. So do you think they're getting stoned, or what do you think is happening?
He's not leading his flock right, so I think so. Like because we have like
Who's the he?
Eddie.
Oh, so it's a guy that's leading.
No, it's the rooster.
Oh. See, I don't know enough about the farm stuff. My bad. So okay, the rooster is leading the flock. I'm confused.
No, okay, so there's a rooster and then there's hens, right? And during a full moon, he gets like really confused and like he always like looks up and like will scoot the flock. We have like 5 acres, and so they're free range completely until it becomes 8 o'clock or dusk when they go back inside. And then I've noticed like my cat will like not want to go outside. My dog and my mom will even go, "Must be a full moon tonight." So I'm like,
Okay, well that's definitely interesting. I didn't know much about that, and I appreciate you sharing your experiences with the farms and animals. Definitely, I don't have much experience there, so thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I'll be honest, I personally haven't experienced what he's saying, but that kind of leads me to this next point, which is that I've noticed a lot of the times, whether people believe in certain things or people don't believe in certain things, both people tend to dismiss, right, real quickly. So people that believe in something without knowing, they tend to blindly believe in things. And people that will, think that something's not possible, like for example, getting stoned off of the moon, they're going to jump to this conclusion that it's not possible, and they're just dismissive about it without knowing. And that's where I love to stand in this position, which is just to say, I don't know, because I think I don't know is a very okay and very great place to be in, because you open up the doors to the truth. What do you think about that?
I think that you can't share great ideas with closed-minded people, and so you have to be open to everybody's thoughts so that when someone else comes to you and asks you questions, then you can actually be educated on how to answer.
Perfect. No, I agree with that 100%. So with all that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching and appreciate you, Ellie, for being here. If you have any other video reaction requests, you can also comment down below. Remind the viewers, Ellie, where can they find you again?
On Instagram at Ellie Rain with 2 E's.
Yeah, check her stuff out, which will also be down below. And if you want any other personality types or just people on the show, you can also comment down below. With that, make a great day, take it joyfully, and stay conscious. Awesome job, Ellie. You did great.
Thank you.
Awesome.